My name is Cindy, and I am a volunteer with the ministry at the juvenile prison. I mentor the girls who come there. They're anywhere from ages 12 to 17. And then I also help out with special events that we do over with the boys program. When I first found out about the prison ministry, I was very, very excited to find out that this was going on in the juvenile prisons. My education is actually in counseling, and my thing that I always wanted to do as a counselor was work with teenagers in particular who were hurting. And since I had a counseling career for several years, but then I stopped to have a family and have children, and it was during that time that I met Roger. And he told me about the prison ministry, and it was really exciting because that's what I always wanted to do. In my counseling career, I worked at a secular place, or a place that was non-Christian, and so I was not allowed to bring up God or Christ unless my clients did first. And that's really what changes people. So I started the mentoring first, and of course, you mentor just one girl at a time, which is a good thing because you can really get to know them. You can work with the staff that is working with them at the prison. You can be an advocate for them. The thing that's really neat about the volunteer mentors is that prison staff is not allowed to have contact with the kids once they leave the prison for at least 3 years. But as a mentor, when you develop that relationship with the girl or boy, then you are allowed to have contact with them after they leave the prison and help connect them with churches and resources and all the things that they need in order to stay sober and to stay off the streets and not to go back. I think it's so important for just as many of us as possible to go in and show that kind of love. I know it can be kind of intimidating. It can be a little scary. A lot of them are very rough around the edges. But I've found that once you show a true interest in them, and they know that you're not getting paid to come see them, that's such a big deal for them, that you are volunteering your time. With a girl I've been working with a lot that's already out, named Eva, she has done a testimony and actually written her story for a lot of people to read now. And one of the things that she feels like is that she was truly rescued by being arrested.
Hi, my name is Eva Powell. At age 13, after some trauma in my life, I began running away and using drugs, including marijuana, alcohol, and eventually meth. And of course, I was hanging out with some friends who were doing the same thing. After running away at one point, the police were called to take me home yet again, but this time I ended up being arrested for possession of marijuana and was taken to juvenile detention. I was released the next day and then placed on probation. After that, I violated my probation over and over again. By running away and continuing to use drugs, ending up at detention centers, eventually I was sent to Black Canyon School when I was 15 years old. When I got to Black Canyon, it wasn't long until I began to notice all of the support and opportunity around me. I then made a decision to use this falling point in my life as an opportunity to grow. Wanting some help, I requested a mentor. I met a great lady by the name of Susan. She was very supportive and helped me a lot. I also attended church services when I had a chance. I was held in Black Canyon for about 4 months and was released after learning and growing in so many ways. Unfortunately, upon my release at age 16, I ended up back in the same environment and sick relationships as before. It was only a matter of time that I ended up back in Black Canyon for a parole violation. It was then it became obvious to me how well I do with love and support around me. I requested a mentor again, and this time I was assigned to my second mentor, Cindy. Cindy helped me to recognize who I am as a loved person, not defined by mistakes. Although I had grown up in church off and on, my father was even a youth pastor at one point. I began to understand God better, how He works, and His love for everyone, no matter what. Even though the troubles in my life are far from over, I'm now in a place where I'm growing and trusting God to take care of it all. It's not easy, and I've certainly been tempted to go back to my old patterns, but I'm trying to keep my focus on God and striving to stay obedient to Him. I began my journey by reaching out to my mentor Cindy from Black Canyon. Then, in making a real commitment to Christ, I was baptized. Since then, I continue to rely on God and my growing Christian support team. I'm grateful for everyone God has put in my life through this ongoing journey for Christ, and I'm excited to see how He'll work everything out in my future.
She's totally on the right path. She has a child. She's raising him in Christ. And what she wants to do with her life is to go and help the kids who were like she was when she was incarcerated. It's when you're talking with the kids, if they ever find out that one of their friends is, from the prison or something, has gone off and gotten in trouble, they'll actually talk about that they want their friends to get caught. They want their friends to get brought back because they know that they want them to be safe and they want them to be rescued again, and they don't want them getting into trouble anymore. So it's kind of a funny thing because, before they got caught, they didn't want to get caught. But now that they're caught, they want all their friends to get caught because they see how saving it is, and that they actually have this chance to find God and to develop an actual relationship with Him, instead of just having Him be this thought that's out here. I think the important thing about knowing that they feel rescued whenever they come in there and they have a chance to connect with God is that we need to be there when they come out, because they're not going to make it if they don't continue to have a connection with God, and if they don't continue to have connections with healthy people who are encouraging them to make healthy choices. People who truly do love them and aren't just wanting to use them or get something from them, because that's what they're used to. There are all kinds of kids in these facilities and all kinds of just issues and struggles that they face. There's a unit for boys for sex offenders. There's drug units for the kids who have just been, just hardcore drug users. There's mental health units for the kids who are suffering from mental illnesses such as bipolar. And a lot of times, that's actually what causes these kids to get in trouble, is they've got these issues to start with, and then they start acting out and get in trouble. And, God's the one that heals that. He's after being in the counseling profession, and yeah, there's a lot of great counseling techniques out there, but without the ultimate healer, I just don't believe that anybody completely gets healed. And so that's why it's important to have loving Christians and for churches to open their doors and to bring in these kids and to welcome them and to not put this label on them as troublemakers or be afraid of them being around, but to just show them love. They respond to the love, just like the kids that we know respond to love. They respond to love big time, and so just to make everything available for them as far as the church and making them feel welcome. Just really getting out there and letting them know that, not just being in the church and saying, yeah, you can come on if you want, but actually getting out there, getting to know them and building relationships with them so that they will feel comfortable coming into church. A lot of these kids feel too guilty to go to church with the normal people. They feel like they don't fit in or something. And I think just like Jesus did in His day of always approaching the unlovely people, that's what we need to do. They might be a little bit intimidating and scary and unlovely, but we got to get out there and invite them in.